Had that one out years ago under sedation. This one is now ready to come out. It has blossomed like a flower, and it is now ready to be plucked by the dentist. And that's going to happen next week. So I'm going through this week now with what has been the worst dental pain of my life, which was not helped by the temporary filling that my emergency dentist tried to put in. That was not a success. So it is a bit raw at the moment because the temporary filling had to come out. I had to take it out. It wasn't right. Now today I've been shopping for various foods that I'm going to be able to eat over the next few days. I've also got various drugs from yesterday. So the first thing is that the dentist gave me an antibiotic, the strongest antibiotic he could, to get the infection down, because they can't rip out the tooth while it's infected, or they can, but the anaesthetic won't work. So this has been getting the infection down. Now I was taking, let's just put the timer on. I was taking ibuprofen in these red liquid capsules. I find is very good. And paracetamol. And the paracetamol that I recommend, that I think is particularly good, is this one. Is this Panadol Actifast. Comes in a little book. Okay, so those two drugs don't interact with each other, so you can use them at the same time, which means you can have Panadol, and then if after an hour or two it's not really working, you can add a bit of ibuprofen. There also is a product called Neuromol, which is supposed to be Nurofen. It's supposed to be ibuprofen and Panadol combined. The problem with this is you can't overlap them like you can with the ibuprofen. You see, I can take the ibuprofen, and if it starts to work, then I'll put some salt in there. If it stops working or gets weaker, then I can add the paracetamol. But with the Neuromol, you've kind of taken the whole hit in one go, which also means it's all going to wear off at the same time, and that also means that you maybe have taken too much, or you're too early to take another dose. So you're left in this hinterland where you've got to wait an extra 3 hours or something before you can take it again. So I do not recommend at all this combined idea. No, not at all. I think it's a bad idea. I think it's a really bad idea. So that was a bad purchase. It's got no flexibility built into it. I hope that makes sense what I said about it. Dentists are not allowed to give you painkillers these days, so I also had to go to the doctor to get some more painkillers that would be more powerful than all of the above. This codeine stuff. And the good thing about this is that it also knocks you out and you go to sleep. So he's given me 100 codeine tablets to get me through. So that's the drug side of things. Okay. Now we move on to the food side of things. I went shopping yesterday thinking about what kinds of foods I can eat that are going to be soft, not require chewing. It's not that I can't chew, I can chew on the other side, but the problem is every time these teeth touch, as my jaw goes up and down, it's going to inflame it more. It's going to start causing a problem. It's going to start giving it, making it sensitive again. So, and that, whether there's a filling in there or not, it's the banging up and down on the tooth. So we don't want to be chewing, I have decided. And I went and got various different things. I got some wholemeal bread, because I'm going to need the roughage, because some of these drugs can make you constipated. So it's good to have the wholemeal bread there. Secondly, you're taking these things 4 times a day, a lot of them. I don't eat 4 times a day. I don't know about you. I have one main meal a day plus a light breakfast. So I have a light breakfast and have a main meal, and that's it. That's my food for the day. So it's very difficult for me to eat 4 times a day, to have food with the drugs. So, I will have half a slice of this wholemeal bread with my pill. I went and bought this yesterday, stuff called oat bran, which is like a very fine stuff, and when you put it in a bowl with some water, it goes like this. And it's just soft. and you can just have that. In fact, I put too much oat bran in there. You don't need much. Doesn't really need to be chewed at all, just swallow it. I think one thing about the oat bran that maybe isn't so good is it is very small bits. Could potentially get into that tooth. Got to be a bit judicious about keeping it down this side of the mouth. I got some plums because again I thought this is going to be good for the gut to have plums, and also require no chewing. Obviously I'm not going to be biting into those and accidentally hitting the stone. I'm going to cut pieces off with a knife and eat pieces of plum with a knife, take off with a knife. I've got this cheap school dinner style vegetable soup. Just get some cheap and cheerful soup that you like. Could be tomato soup. That way you can buy lots and lots and lots of tins of it, and they don't go off, so you can stay indoors for 2 to 3 days if you have to, and you've got this. And it can also be eaten cold because it's already cooked, so if you're feeling really under the weather, you don't even want to cook, this can be eaten cold. All these things can be eaten cold, so there's that as well. Bananas, again, just very simple, no chewing really, just piece swallowed, and they're quite good also for taking tablets with. And today what I've been doing, also went and bought some eggs, so there they are. I've just been boiling, that's what I was doing when the video started, boiling a load of eggs, and they're just going to sit there and can eat them when I'm hungry, and very little chewing necessary. In fact, you could mash them onto a piece of that wholemeal bread. So those are the foods that I've got, and now I want to talk about drinks. Well, first of all, I have this salt water ready all the time. So like now I've just finished eating, so and I've got this little bowl by my bed, so I can spit into the bowl by my bed. It's a bit horrid, but that's the way to do it, you see, because I don't have a sink by my bed. So salt water all the time, constantly. Usually leave it in my mouth longer than that. The other thing, this is supposed to be good green tea, so I'm going to drink that. I hate it, can't stand it, but I think any tea is alright. Just made with leaves and water, no milk, no sugar. And as I say, this water, swigs of this when I feel like it, which is just really fresh, brand new water, and I think that's again good for just giving your mouth a rinse around and making sure any food is gone. And then the other thing I'm doing is this, which is a book where I'm listing what I'm taking and when, because you cannot rely on yourself. On one page I've written down what I have to do, and on the other page I've written down what I have done, because you cannot rely on your memory. So that's everything that I've done for this. If you can think of any other helpful bits of advice, put them in the comments below, please. Oh, there's another thing. Hats like this, they press here and here, and they're very bad. This one's quite loose, but in general this is not a good hat to be wearing when you've got tooth problems, because this is all connected, all of this, and when you put that pressure on, so that's actually quite an important thing to remember as well. Okay, hope that helps. If anyone else has ideas, stick them in the comments below, please. Thanks. I was also prescribed this gastro-resistant stuff to take every day. This protects your stomach when you're taking a lot of these anti-inflammatories, these non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs, because they prevent your stomach lining from secreting the goo that protects it from its own acid. And so if you're taking a lot of NSAIDs, then it can cause pain in your stomach and ulcers even. And so that's why we have to be careful with non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs like ibuprofen especially. Just mentioned to the doctor that I was concerned about the amount of NSAIDs I was taking, and he said, I'll give you this. So that's a good one. I talked about the hat. You know, I don't wear that hat in bed normally. I stick on a woolly hat like this, you see, instead. Stick on a nice cosy woolly hat. And to have your head slightly elevated for sleeping is better. You don't want to have your head so far down. I normally sleep face down with my face quite low, but with this it's better for me to be sitting up with my head up a bit, so it's not quite so heavy, the blood pressure in the face. So there's that as well. If that helps any of you, that's great. If there's anything I've missed, other ideas, stick them in the comments below. Thanks.